Hello YouTube, getting ready to start on my next little project here. This is my old Sears and Roebuck garden tractor. I made a couple videos of this already. This thing has been in the family since 1976. It was bought by my grandfather. It's never left the family, but I finally broke it. Finally broke the transmission, and in the process of trying to find a transmission for it, I actually came across an entire mower that actually is the same thing. The only difference is mine is classified as a Sears suburban tractor, and this one is a Roper tractor. But it's completely identical. The only difference between this one and mine is this one has a Briggs and Stratton motor, mine has an Onans motor on it. But the belly mower and everything all has the same hookups. It'll go right up underneath there. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, for the time being, my original plan was to take the transmission out of this and use it in mine, but since it runs and drives and works really good, it seems a shame to tear this one apart to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and fix this one up for the time being. I got some cosmetic work to do to it. You see the dash, where the throttle and choke cable were, got busted. I'm going to try to fiberglass that from the backside, so you don't see the fiberglass work, and you can see where the hood, where somebody might have ran into something, and you can see where they damaged this front. So I'm going to see if I can fix the front there, and then you see where, with the hood being out of alignment, looks like someone tried to cut it to go around the steering wheel when they were lifting it up and down. So I'm going to see if I can address that, and then once I go through all that, I'm going to repaint it back to the original paint scheme, which looked like it was a white and black paint scheme. So that's going to be my newest little project, for now. Definitely like to get this one back up and going, and I want to do the same thing. I want to kind of repaint this one as well, make this one look like it originally did. So that's going to be my newest little project, and I'm going to start by working on the cosmetic works of this one. Alright, I got the four rims painted, ready to go. I painted the chassis, the part that needs to be black. Now, I'm not doing like a, frame off restoration of this thing. I just want to make it look a lot nicer than it did. I mean, it was pretty rough looking from years and years of pretty much sitting outside. I mean, you can pretty much tell based on the way the hood looks. I'm just trying to make it look nicer than it does. So I'm just, freshening it up essentially. But as soon as the black is dry, I'll go ahead and paint the running boards, those rear fenders, put the tires back on it, get it back on the ground, and then finish working on the dash so I can get that done and back on. And then it'll be on to trying to see what I can do to repair that hood. Getting a little closer, got the four wheels on, got the running boards and fenders painted. Obviously the chassis was painted. Now I just got to get ready to start working on the hood, and then finish up the dash area. Alright, I got the first layer of fiberglass on. Now it's not pretty on the back side, that's for sure, but you're not going to see this side anyways. Essentially what I'm going to do is, now I'm going to add one more layer, but what pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm just going to literally just fill this with resin. So this way it turns into the, and then another little strip of this, the mesh here. So what I'll do is I'll create just like a solid block of resin and, the mat here. So this way what it'll do is it'll allow me to go on this side and slowly sand this down until I have the level that I need. And then I can cut out the hole where the throttle cable goes. I'll clean this out for the choke. I gotta add a little bit more right here and then reshape that. But it's coming along. I've also, when I fiberglassed, I reattached the bottoms. So, shouldn't be much longer. Alright, pretty much got the dash done. Didn't turn out as nice as I wanted to. I really couldn't get it to sand down really good because, obviously with the plastic, it kept wanting to melt on me. So I kind of had to just say it is what it is. But I mean, at least it's not cracked no more. The throttle cable go here. I'm gonna reuse some red paint, make these things stand out again, but get ready to put that back on. Alright, got the dash put back in. See, I got everything. Try to repaint the little icons a little bit so they stand back out. Got all the stuff back in. You see where this was originally all busted. I mean, it didn't turn out as good as I was hoping, but I mean, it's solid. I can move my cable, you know, up, in and out with no problems. So that part's done. Now it's on to finishing the rest of the sheet metal so I can start putting the front half together. Alright, I'm getting started working on the front here. What my game plan is you see I made this little template of cardboard. What that template's gonna do is, you see the little tabs or the little roper thing would have been. I'm gonna make this to where this fits down inside here. Now this is gonna be transferred to a small piece of metal, and then that'll also allow me to put this piece in place. That'll go up underneath the bottom side here, like that. And what that's gonna do, that's gonna allow me to put some temporary screws in it to hold everything in line. And then what that'll do is that'll make it to where on the top side, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to. Alright, you can see I kind of have this propped up here just so I can kind of show what I'm doing here. Obviously, like I said, this cardboard is going to be transferred to a piece of thin aluminum. It's going to allow me to add, you know, a few screws in this area over here, and I'm going to try to get some in what's left of this material right here. And then I'm going to essentially use that fiberglass mat. I'm going to glass this entire thing with a few layers and then blend everything in. So this way so you don't see the patchwork. Essentially the patchwork will be below it. And then in this little cavity right here where there's like kind of like this kind of wedge area, I'm going to cut some wedges to fit here and on the other side. So this way it kind of helps hold everything, you know, extra tight. So hopefully when I open the hood, I don't get any kind of like, say, flexing right here, you know, when the hood's open. So I just want to show how I'm going to attempt to repair this and try to make it look like a good repair and not just some chunky piece of metal there to kind of make it look like a repair. So when I get some glass on there, I'll show you what it looks like, and hopefully this works. Okay, I had to get a little creative. It didn't quite work the way I was hoping to. I was hoping to be able to run screws to the top here, but for some reason I couldn't get this aluminum to lay nice and flat. So this way I have a nice, you know, level plane between the two. So what I ended up having to do is, you can see the screws that are kind of run through. I actually ran them down in here. So what it did is when it hit the, you know, that thin portion, it essentially kind of pushed it over. So now I was able to get it to fit nice and tight in there. I got this with a couple screws. I got it lined up to where it's the same dimension from the corner here to my line, and then the same with over here. So I should be centered or within like a 1/16 of an inch. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rough up this surface a little bit here. I'm going to start running some fiberglass on it. The fiberglass is dry on this. Get ready to put a little bit of filler on it. You can see where I got the metal piece down on the bottom here. I just made sure that it was definitely well resined and plenty of that wrap. You can see it's pretty strong. I can grab it right here at the pivot point and move it. So it's actually going to hold up really well. I'm going to put a little filler on here just to smooth this all out and blend it in, and it'll be ready for paint. Alright, to the point where I'm going to put some primer on it. That'll let me know if I have any real imperfections that I still need to address with this. Sometimes when you're looking at just filler, sometimes it's hard to see all the little spots. So I'm going to get some primer on there. We'll see how it looks. And then if it looks alright, then I'll get ready to paint this too. Alright, I got the primer on it. Just a matter of I'm going to give it a little bit more longer to dry. It's pretty dry right now, but I'm just going to give it a little longer. Then I'll give it a sanding with a 400 grit. And then I'm going to paint, you know, this outer ring and this, obviously the center part black. And then I'll paint this rest of it white. And then once that's all done, then I will paint the hood and bolt them back together. I'm gonna go ahead and start working on this right here. I put it on the floor and kind of beat it as flat as I could. The metal is distorted, so I'm gonna have to work that out some. But you see, I'm just gonna cut a little thin piece of metal. You see where I cut it to fit inside here. And I'm gonna tack the whole thing in and then grind it down smooth, and then make sure my line is straight. And then I'll sand down top and bottom so it kind of looks to the point where maybe it's never there. I'm gonna have to use just a pinch of filler just for any small imperfections, but other than that, that's how I'm gonna fix that portion of the hood. Then I just gotta sand it and get ready to paint it. Alright, got the piece welded in, ground down as smooth as I'm gonna get it. Yeah, made it where my line is pretty straight. I'm gonna try to feather that out a little bit more. I got a little bit of hammer and dollieing to do. See if I can take out some of these high spots that are over here to see if I can get rid of the buckle. Other than that, I'm almost ready to start sanding. Alright, I got the hood and primer. See, I got this area all done. Got it as straight as I could. A little wavy, but you're not really going to notice that. It's all primer ready for paint. Also went ahead and took the belly mower. Got that all primered, ready for paint. Alright, hood is all painted. Next step is going to be to put my Roper logo back in here. Put the other little piece of metal that was there. And a couple bulbs for the headlights. And then get it mounted onto the tractor. Now, I put the lower piece on here already. I left this loose so I can move it back and forth to make the adjustments to make sure that my hood lines up where I want it to line up. So that'll be the next step. And then after that will be putting the belly mower on it. Alright, got the hood mounted on. Got the logos back in. Got some lights in it. Now these bulbs are burnt out. There's just some extra ones I had sitting around here. I just wanted to put them in there just to make it look complete. And just so you know, I didn't install the Roper thing crooked. The actual sticker was crooked on the metal back piece that it was attached to. I got it all on here. I got it to where everything adheres properly. Put a new cable on it to hold the hood up. Now the next step is to do the belly mower. Now I've already got that painted. I just got to address those back there. I want to paint those black. Put the belt on it. Put the little guard back on it, and then slide it up underneath there and get ready to hook all that stuff up. Alright, I'm just about there. Got the belly mower underneath of it. Got everything hooked up. Still gotta paint the, edge indicator, on the belly mower there. I do have one other issue I ran into that I got to see if I can do something about. The original cover for here wasn't on the tractor, so I was going to try to use the one from my Suburban, but the thing I noticed is the two pins, this one and this one, they don't line up with the, the cover here. So I'm going to have to see if I can if there's an adjustment there for those, or I might have to see if I can track one of these down, because obviously I'd have to worry about this belt popping off when the blades are not being used. But other than that, it's just about there. Alright, I'm still plugging away at it. I went through and topped off all the fluids, changed oils, and after a sat for a day or so, I just realized that the axle seal on this side is leaking. It's actually leaking pretty good. So I'm fixing to pull this wheel off and change that axle seal. I watched a video already of a guy that changed one. It looks pretty straightforward. It's right there on the outside once I pull the hub off. And he also showed where he got it from. This is the part number and everything for it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this wheel off and change that seal out. For anybody who's not sure, these hubs come off pretty easy on this style. They just have this little retaining ring. You give a good whack this way first, so it kind of pushes this top up. You just lift it right out of there, and then just slide that right off. Now, the one video I watched, it looked like he essentially kind of just used a screwdriver or some kind of small pick, and he just kind of got inside there until he walked it out. So essentially that's the method I'm going to start with, and see if it works. If it doesn't work, I'll get myself maybe like a punch, like for for doing like a center punch, so I can poke a better hole in it. So let's see what happens here. Yeah, let me get something different I can poke a hole so I can pull on some. Just like that. So I just got it. Once I got it enough in there, I was able just to just walk it right out. One thing I'm not liking what I'm seeing is it looks like there, the water's gotten into this transaxle here. So the water has a little bit of that milky. Sorry, not the water, but the oil has a little bit of that milky color to it. So I'm hoping it's not too bad. I mean, when I filled it up with the oil, I mean, I had to put quite a bit in there, so it's definitely not full of water, but there's definitely water is definitely gaining access to it. So what I'm going to do now is just get ready to slide this over. Alright, what I'm going to do here is, you got these ribs right here, and even though they don't feel sharp, you got to think, with the constant, these right here, constantly pulling and, with the spinning and forward and reverse and click, 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 I want to make sure that I don't have any kind of burr on here that's going to put a cut in that new seal. So I'm not doing a lot. Just something so I know that I don't have any kind of potential burrs that are going to damage my new seal. I want to put a little W40 on here just to kind of lubricate it a little bit. Kind of walk it on there nice and easy. There we go. And then you're just gonna want to get yourself some kind of pipe or something. You don't want it to be too small, but you don't want it to be too big either. And just slowly walk it in. Now the original seal kind of set in just a little bit, not quite 16th, but yeah, kind of right about there. And clean the oil off the old washers. It's had a couple washers on it. And as far as I know, that's really all there is to changing the axle seal on one of these Sears and Roper style tractors. Once you get this on, you just tap it on, and that's it. Put my wheel back on, and I'll clean the floor, and I'll give it another day or so just to make sure I don't see any fluid, and if I don't, then that means I'm good to go. Alright, still plugging away at it. One of the things I talked about earlier in the video was how I wanted to be able to use my original cover off my Suburban tractor, but the problem I was running into was these points don't line up. And I did notice that if, say, I wanted to, say, cut this right here off, this one tab, and side shift it here, then, it would line up. It'd be perfect right there. you know, based on that thing. But if I were to ever find an actual cover for a roper tractor, I'd rather put the right cover on there and then be able to put this back on my my Suburban tractor. So I really don't want to hack it up. So what I did notice is that this top bolt right here, you know, when I was kind of finessing it, actually kind of lines up with it perfectly. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use that location right there. And then I also went out to my Suburban, put this on there and checked my clearance of how the pulley here, you know, fits within this area right here. Like, does it, you know, how it sits in there, and everything seems to line up perfectly. So what I'm going to do is I took the bolt out, that originally held that bracket right there, and just went to the hardware store, picked up a 4-inch long bolt, and then what I did is I measured from here to here, and then after I put a nut on here in the washers, I measured from where it's going to be flat on the plate to here, and then cut that to length. And then I took a sander, sanded this at a little bit of a bevel, so it makes it easier to slide the cover on. I've already screwed it in once, so I can get the location of this, you know, for the pin right here, and then pulled it back out. And then after that, then I took the, I don't know if you can see it, but the rubber piece that is like the little cushion piece right here, and just cut a just a piece of old air hose that'll slide over this, you know, to give me my spacing. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this on. And then slide my piece of rubber hose on there, and you can see the cover goes right on. Now all I got to do is just get a couple pins to lock it in. Obviously, I'll use the ones from my other tractor. So the next step is to sand this down. You know, I'll probably use a sandblast to clean it up, repaint it with the same paint that I did everything else, so this way it all matches. Put my pins in there, and I'm good to go. That was actually a much easier fix than I was anticipating it to be. Okay, I'm starting to feel like this is like the never-ending project here. After I fixed that axle seal, then this tire right here, I just couldn't seem to get it to hold air, and I checked for leaks, and I finally tracked it down. I'm probably not going to be able to, you know, see it too well in the video, but what I think happened is I think this tire went flat at one point, and it was kind of crushed and caused the sidewall, you know, because they're old and kind of dry, to crack. And what that did, I had a pretty good air leak coming from the sidewall on both sides of the tire. So I just dismounted it and put an inner tube in it. But it's just about there. The final piece to the puzzle has finally shown up. I found a company that does reproduction stickers, so I'm going to re-sticker the tractor. This is where I got it from. If anybody's ever working on a roper and is looking for the stickers. So what I'm going to do is, since it came with a new, you know, front roper sticker here, and since this one's crooked, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and pull these two pieces of metal out, repaint them, get that sticker out there, and obviously put the new one in so it's nice and straight, so it doesn't have, you know, it doesn't look crooked no more. Then rebadge the side, and then put the little 16 T's back on the side here. I still got to paint that cover, but once I do that, the mower will be completed and ready to start using. Alright, for anybody that's never, say, done a graphic before and you're a little kind of nervous about doing it, it's not really, you know, that hard or complicated. First thing you want to do is figure out where it's supposed to go. I looked at some reference photos, and it looks like this top one right here lines up with this line right here. So you can see where I just did a straight edge to go right across, and you see where I'm lined up with that line right there. And then obviously you're going to want to make sure that your lines here and your lines here are pretty straight. I did have to trim this one just a little bit, because to get this to line up like I wanted it to, it kind of went at an angle here a little bit. So I did trim that off a little bit with a razor knife just to make it where I wanted it. And now once you get to that point, you get it kind of, you know, positioned how you like it. It's in the spot you want. I usually use just a couple pieces of masking tape, hold it up here, and then you're gonna have it's gonna be two pieces. You're gonna have your back piece, which always have yourself a razor blade with you, because sometimes it doesn't want to come off the backer. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. So you just gotta get up underneath there and just kind of just lift it up gently. Don't put a whole lot onto it. See that it's not coming up because it's supposed to come off the backer and stick to the masking tape that's right here, but sometimes they don't stick like they're supposed to, and you know, so once you get it up, take your time. You don't want to do it, you don't want to wrinkle these things at all. And just slowly work this back piece off. Alright, so now, nope, don't get stuck. There we go. Good thing you didn't get stuck. And then just take some form of squeegee. This is just a Bondo, tool, nothing special. Since it has this protective coat on it, you ain't gonna scratch it, so you don't have to have like some special one. And just kind of work your way down. My cat decided she wanted to come say hi. I guess kind of a bit of a shop inspector. Make sure I'm doing this right. Does it look good to you? All right, good. She didn't answer me. And just slowly work yourself down. You don't want to start really in the center. You want to start up here, depending on your graphic, because we want to work it down and make sure that we don't get any air bubbles trapped in there. Just gonna slowly walk it down. Once I walk it all down, then I'm just gonna make sure that it looks like it's stuck really good. And once you do all that, then you just take the outside and slowly peel it off. You want to peel it slow because you're going to want to watch to make sure you're not lifting up none of your edges. Because if you lift up the edge too much and then you kind of stretch that vinyl, you'll never get it to lay nice and smooth. You always have like a little bit of a wrinkle or a crease there. So you don't want to go nice and slow. Really pay attention to your edges. And never, like right here where it's kind of blunt, I'm able to, that one stuck really good, but sometimes what I'll do is I'll follow this around. Just like that. Now you might have little air bubbles in there that are going to happen, but once this thing gets out in the sun and you get the heat and all that stuff on it, sometimes the air bubbles will work themselves out. But that's really all there is to putting a decal on something. It's like I said, it's not hard. It's not really too intimidating. You just got to take your time and just make sure that your surface is clean and just walk it on nice and slow. Oh, here we go. Here's the finished product. As you see, I took it for a quick run around the yard. I did that so I could turn the blades on, throttle it up, go through all the gears, see how everything's working, how the steering feels, and all that kind of stuff. For the most part, everything actually worked really well. The only issue I have with it so far is I noticed when I'm kind of going up an incline or when I'm first kind of taking off, it tends to bog down pretty bad. So I need to do some investigating on that, see if maybe it's just a fuel mixture screw issue, or if this thing has the same thing my Onan's has. The Onan has a kind of like a governor lever on it that hooks to the throttle. So what it does is as you start to lose RPM, there's a spring on there, and it actually will essentially open the throttle back up automatically to help keep it from stalling out or bogging down like that. So I got to check to see if this has it. If it does, it might just be stuck. I'm not sure. But all in all, I got to say, I think it came out pretty good, considering what I had to work with, especially with all the damages to the hood, in the front grill area. I do like the reproduction stickers on there. Really made the tractor look like it was, you know, original, and looks like a brand new tractor again. So leave me a comment, tell me what you think. Hit that like button, subscribe, and like always, I appreciate everybody that watches my videos, and have a good day.